This podcast is meant for general health information and is not meant to override any medical advice. All questions will be screened and not contain any personal information. If you want a private consultation, contact us via positivechoice.org, or you can contact your provider directly. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to the Positive Choice Wellness Podcast. My name is Melanie and I'm an exercise physiologist.
And my name is Kimberly, and I'm a registered dietitian.
And we have a very special guest with us today. It's Miss Kari McCloskey. Welcome.
Yay, Kari!
Thanks for having me.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah, you've been on before a long time ago, so I'm glad you're back. Welcome back. And for anyone who's maybe a new listener, do you want to share a little bit about yourself, Kari? Like, who are you, what you do around here?
Yeah, I am a registered dietitian, also a personal trainer, and I've been working at Positive Choice Integrated Wellness Center for several decades now. And so I love coming to work and working with either the patients or the physicians or the leadership team or whoever is needing wellness. And so it's just a great facility for everyone and to get well, and even the staff, we're just kind of all into it. So it's a great place. I've loved it, and I'm just glad to be here today also to address this topic.
Yay. We do love working at Positive Choice. It's very fun. I think we all enjoy it. I have not worked there for decades, just a decade, but hey, it's one of them.
You're getting up there. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I started when I was an intern. It was a good time. Now I'm not, which is even cooler. So
Sure.
The other most important question of the day I must ask, Kimberly, what brings you joy?
I'm ready for it. I know.
Do it.
Okay.
Do it. What is it?
This is one of the do as I say, not as I do, because I don't actually have it around me right now. But what's bringing me joy today, genuinely, is ice water with a straw.
That's okay.
Joy.
Right.
One of those simple things, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not the best at hydrating. And so when I have it, well, obviously, because it's not around me, when I have it on me, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good.
Okay.
But anyway,
Good.
That's what's making me happy today. It's a lame one, but that's all I got. Melanie.
Doesn't have
what's
to be
bringing you
exciting.
joy? Good.
Well, not ice water.
Fair enough.
I wish.
It's a boring one.
So I've talked about this before, and it's sad because I'm going to talk about it again. So guess what I'm fermenting?
Guess what you're... Oh, fermenting. Yay.
Yes.
What is
so
it?
I'm fermenting mustard again and a red hot sauce. I'm doing both again.
I was going to guess mustard. Fun.
Yes. I bought like 2 pounds of mustard seeds. I was like, all right, we're going serious now. So I'm making some lacto-fermented mustard and then a nice red hot sauce that's also fermented. The house of fermentation over here. So it brings me joy because I just like fermenting things. It's fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Life goals. I love it.
Exactly. It's just,
Wow.
perfect life of fermentation. Anyways, but Kari, what brings you joy today?
Today, I was able to go outside and do a really awesome workout with my husband.
Oh,
And so
yay.
we have weights,
That's the
and
best.
we're just able to, and they feel like they are getting easier. And so it was very, very joyful to start my day that way.
Oh, that's
It's the
lovely.
best. And doing it with your husband, that's even more fun.
Mhm.
Yeah.
it.
Aw. I work out with my husband, just not outside because it's Santee and it's hot. So I don't do that.
That would be rough. Yes.
Yes, so we stay indoors where it's air conditioned. But I do think it. What I lovingly refer to my husband as is my swole mate.
There you
Mm.
go. I love
Yep.
that.
Mm.
Those who
That's
live together
great.
stay together.
Oh,
I love it.
So it
I
sounds
love
like
it.
you have a swole mate. I like it.
well, that's great. I love that.
Well, I'd love to keep talking about swole mates, but we're not going to do that. So we're going to shift gears and actually talk about something a little unrelated, not 100% though. There's some talk of exercise in there, I think. But what we're going to talk about today is just some tips for how we can kind of age gracefully, tips for longevity, things we can do to really help ourselves as we get older, because that's one of the things that's inevitable in life. And it is helpful to know different ways we can just gracefully age and do so well. And I'd love to jump into this topic, Kari. So if you want to kind of lead the way, what is our focus here?
Well, it's personal for me because I am entering into my 6th decade this year.
What?
And I'm super excited
Congratulations.
for this next chapter
So
of my
exciting.
life. I want to, still continue to have fun and meaningful time and connections and adventures. I have 4 children, and now from them, I have 7 grandchildren, and
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
actually 1 more on the way.
Ah!
And so I just want to make sure that I have the energy and the oomph just to be continue living a wonderful lifestyle I've already had
Yeah.
with those little munchkins and, my children too. But so I just want to be in good shape and to still have, more importantly, a strong mind, right? So I'm digging in deep and actually really trying to implement some of the things that I am learning and then transfer that on to the people that I work with to say, hey, yeah, this is working and it does make sense. And so I think that, getting people, first of all, in a mindset that it is doable. There's current science to show that things that you do, and small little things even, can make a huge difference in your overall health and well-being. And so, yeah, I'm just wanting to be proactive and making that happen for myself.
I do
I
like
love
that
that.
though. Practicing what we preach a little bit as well, right? Like it we educate others in ways that they can be healthier, but we also need to live the same way, which is
Hmm.
why I now eat primarily plant-based, because this is my
Hmm.
life now. Because when you're in the field, is kind of what happens, and I respect that. So what aspects of this are you really implementing into your life then? What are you doing that's really working for you as far as like your longevity that you want to share?
Well, one thing that we teach at Positive Choice is this acronym, and it's SELF, SELF. And so that's primarily what I thought I would address today is, what that stands for. So,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it actually, it's taking care of myself so I can take care of others, basically.
Yeah.
And so, the S stands for sleep, and the E is for exercise, and the L is for love, and then the F is for food. And so, yeah, I thought I would address a few of those principles within that acronym, just so, um, things that I have learned and things that, scientifically they're learning. And so that's kind of the direction I'd like to take,
Okay.
especially because when we're thinking of taking care of ourselves or our health, I go back to the saying that says, a man or woman who has their health has 1,000 dreams, but the man or woman who doesn't have their health has just but one.
Mm.
So
Ooh.
health is super important, and especially as you age. So if you don't mind, I'd like to jump into the first one, which is the S and the sleep.
I like sleep.
And
Let's talk about sleep. Sleep's
Love it.
great.
I'm about
yeah,
sleep.
right. um, so we all know how essential it is, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking of aging and the brain, and I need my memory, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm.
already a grandma. They call me Nina, which I love. That's my middle name.
Oh,
So
Aw.
I
sweet.
get to be Nina, but I don't want to be that Nina like who forgot to turn the stove off and now the house is
Mm-hmm.
on fire, like losing my mind.
Right.
So, I really want to enhance that part of me, and I know sleep is just one of the really big hallmarks of doing that. And there's really the experts are saying in the scientific field that if there's no really aspect of your physiology that can escape unscathed from the lack of sleep. So
Mm-hmm.
there's just such a need. Why do we as human beings spend 1/3 of our life sleeping? It must be that biologically important for us to get a good night's sleep. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so I try to watch, or I try to get to sleep at a reasonable hour. Of course, like everybody, it'll vary,
Mm-hmm.
but I think also getting up at a certain time every day too. So I'm just not, um oversleeping, and then I kind of, feel groggy and that. But
So you're
um
seeking like consistency with your schedule. So same time nighttime, same time morning, consistently for
yeah.
the most part.
Right, right, yeah. So, because the talk is that there's just the systems that go in there, and they kind of get rid of what's not necessary, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called the glymphatic system. It kind of sweeps away like things that you're not needing, and it's kind of like the cleaning crew who comes in
Mm-hmm.
there and helps. And so with a good night's sleep, people that are trying to lose weight, we've noticed if they aren't sleeping very well, then they're not secreting specific hormones that are necessary for their weight loss. And so I think it's just that much more important to get that repair time, that downtime, for your body to do what it needs to do. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
at my age also, I'm really trying to um, keep the muscle I have, and
Mm-hmm.
then also build a little muscle, which I have to say, recently, boom, knock on, I mean, I have built some muscle, which is hard to
Mm-hmm.
do at this age. Yeah. So now I want to keep that on. And I know that during sleep is the time that the muscles do their repair and their growth also. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's been really important to me.
I
Yeah.
love that.
I value sleep. Like
Mm-hmm.
that is the one thing above all else. I think, well, food's pretty close, but sleep's very up there for me. Because I find I'm pretty much non-functional if I get sub 7 hours. Like my whole day's a wreck. I just
Mhm.
can't.
Good
Yes.
for
And
you.
cause I guess if Kate Hardy were here,
Yeah.
she would be telling us like 7 to 9 hours is the average amount of sleep average people should get. Now I know that she had mentioned, because we did an episode with her a few months ago on sleep. One of the things she had mentioned is like insomnia is something that can definitely start cropping up as we get older. And I don't know if that's something that you've noticed as you've gotten, gracefully older, but are you struggling with insomnia at all, or is that something that hasn't really been an issue for you?
For me, I can get to sleep, no problem, but it's, waking up in the middle of the night
Mm,
sometimes with my mind racing. But things that I've learned to do to help in that situation is either some deep breathing techniques, and we teach these all in our Positive Choice center, but one in particular is either the box breathing, which is a 4x4 breathing, where you inhale for 4, you hold for 4, you exhale for 4, and then you hold for 4 again. You do that 4 times. And or it's just the basic, they call it the physiological sigh. You inhale, and then you kind of just inhale right on top of that, and then you exhale
mm,
really, really long. So these are kind of breathing techniques that I do. There's also the emotional freedom technique, which is a series of tapping different meridians so that I can get rid of whatever emotions are going on and be able just to relax and go back to sleep. So those are some
okay.
remedies that I have found to help. Um, and then also just giving myself time to worry. Like not during, I don't want to do it during the night because it'll just
No.
keep going on and on. But like
Mhm.
giving my time during the day just to think about things so I can get it off my brain basically. So it's just not, accumulating so much. So those are some things that I do. What about you guys?
I love that. Do you have one, Melanie?
I mean, you could go first, Kimberly. I'll let you go.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, first of all, I want to say I love these tangible tips because I'm sure you guys have experienced the same, but I have some patients in class who are like, I get up in the middle of the night and I can't fall asleep. So I go on my phone or my device or whatever and like play a game, which is like the opposite of what we're supposed to do, like engage your brain. So it's handy to have like, here's some things you can do that will actually help you get back to sleep. I think that that's so wonderful. I'll be honest, I don't struggle with sleep a whole lot. I'm out
Good.
like a log, to be honest. But a couple of things that really help me are the stuff that I do to prep before bed. I feel like I have like a routine or whatever steps that I follow that like I'm really a big believer in like telling my body it's time, I'm winding down, I'm going to sleep type of thing. And Kari, I think it was actually you who mentioned once that if you get your body temperature up before bed, you sleep better. So like a hot shower or a hot bath, something like that. I'm like, why not? This sounds like good self-care too. So anyway, those I kind of am like more of a, following. It doesn't take me much to fall back asleep in the middle of the night if I wake up, I'll be honest.
You're so
That is,
special.
yeah, that's really good to do because when you get your temperature up and it feels good too, it's usually like a warm bath or a shower or something.
Yes.
But then that drop in temperature signals the brain time to sleep.
Okay, love it. Well, it works.
Your core body
quite
temp
well.
will drop about 1 to 2 degrees while you're sleeping. So you're just facilitating that a little bit.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. I like it. It's effective.
I have a habit of, I struggle with sleep a little bit. That's why I value it so much because I do like it when I actually sleep all night. It's kind of nice. But there's times, as someone with, a lot of anxiety, sometimes I do wake up and kind of ruminate and run through different scenarios at 3 a.m. because that's just the best time. And, some of it is I kind of have to have a conversation with myself when I catch myself doing that, where I'm waking up and I'm like playing out scenarios in my brain over and over again. I'm like, hold on. Nothing's happening at 3 a.m. There's no resolutions that are going to happen at 3 a.m. You can do this when you wake up at 7 a.m. Like let's postpone this thought process until you're awake later. And for the most part, that works. And if that doesn't work, I'll do kind of an awareness check and just kind of bring myself back to the present versus rumination. So I'll be like, all right, well, this is something Annalise actually talks about in her classes where like, okay, I feel the comforter on my body. I feel the sheets on my skin. I feel the fan blowing air on my face. I feel the pillow under my, like I'm aware of every sensation that I feel at that moment. And I call out to it. I'm like, okay, this is the thing I'm feeling now. And this is the thing I'm feeling now. And pretty much by the time I run through that, I'm asleep. So I don't ever finish those. I don't know how they end. Couldn't tell you.
How valuable to get into the present moment and just experience what your body is doing in the moment. That's brilliant. Yeah.
Yep. So that's usually my go-to. Or if it's something urgent, I'll write it down on my phone really fast to just get out of my brain so I can go back to sleep.
I've heard that before. Yeah. Jot it down if you can. And then, yeah.
The worst is to wake up at 3 a.m. remembering things on your grocery list. That is the worst. Like you don't need to be thinking about milk and eggs at 3 a.m. You don't.
You don't.
No.
Usually the middle of the night is when I remember something I forgot at work or like, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't tell so-and-so whatever.
Just write it down really fast on your phone and go back to sleep. Exactly.
Beautiful. I love it how you can just put a pin in it and just say, hey, later. Yeah. And then
I would say 90% of the time it works. 90%, but it's pretty good odds. I'll take it. It's a win.
Yeah. I would say so.
So what about this strange, I don't know, this exercise thing? What about that one?
If you start digging into longevity and those people who are promoting it big time out there, you will hear it is like by far, the most potent longevity drug there is. So there's absolutely no other intervention that does more to prolong your lifespan and not just life, but your health span, which is how healthy you're going to be at the different ages. And I think it's just important for me, I've noticed also, I used to be a marathon runner, and I would just go from, right from the car or wherever I was from the house and just straight into running. I can't do that anymore. I need to work on mobility. I need to
Mm-hmm.
get my joints ready and make sure I'm stable. And so that's important, I think, to understand as you age, that there's going to be more time needed to keep lubricating the joints and
Mm-hmm.
that you're not damaging. And I think the number one rule is don't get injured, because then it just takes longer to get healed up from an injury
Yeah.
as you age too. So yeah, just really honing in on to muscle function and the ability for the body to have good locomotion, which then also requires you understanding good technique and good posture, and just, if you're going to be doing any kind of a compound exercises, just how to do that. So I think it's just, having really, really good technique. And I'll have to say though that now, I'm not looking to be involved in races anymore. I've kind of been there, done that. I've done a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the organized races and things where you sign up and you join in, which is fun. It's great. But I don't engage in those very much anymore. But what I am engaging is putting the grandkids on my back and piggybacking them on this long hike
Mm-hmm.
because they can't walk the whole way, dancing with them. I was just at the store the other day with my daughter and the little baby. She's maybe 20, 25 pounds, and she couldn't see her mama, and who was in a dressing room. And so I took her whole body up over the dress, the top of the door of the dressing room, so she could see that mama's right in there. She thought that was so fun,
Of
but
course she did.
so
Oh,
yeah, yeah, I'm doing thrusters with my grandkids, or I'm doing
Yeah.
bicep curls with them, and so it's
I'm
just
very serious when I say get a child or willing pet. I'm very serious when I say if you don't have equipment,
Effective.
use children. They work.
yeah, yeah.
I love
So
that.
yeah, I got to be strong and active. I got to put them
Mm-hmm.
on my shoulders. And sometimes, I'll even engage them and, doing squats with them and stuff. And so that's why I am keeping my muscles strong nowadays. And
I love
so,
that.
I
yeah,
love that too. It reminds me of the whole use it or lose it kind of like quote, right? But also you touched on the mental side of it earlier, but a lot of patients we work with are like, "Oh, I'm too old," or like whatever, right? We kind of get into that mindset of like, "Well, I'm already here, why start now?" like whatever kind of thing. And so I don't know, I feel like that's really powerful. I love that.
yeah. And you're never too old. I mean, we're teaching that in
Yeah.
classes now, that you can
Yes.
activate your nervous system to activate your
Mm-hmm.
muscular system again.
Yeah.
And at any age, even people in their 90s
Yep.
who have been
I
inactive for a while.
I have an
It's
88-year-old
amazing.
client who can do a 20-second plank. Like I've been working with her for 6 years, and she's like she's my spirit animal. I want to be her when I'm 88. Like I like what she does. It's pretty awesome.
Truly.
And
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
she can kick bucket Tate names. Like she's good at what she does. And
Mhm.
she is just an example. But like, when people ask me this question, I get that question a lot too. Like, well, I'm old now. Like, isn't there special exercises for when you're old? I'm like, when it comes to exercise, age is but a number. There's nothing about age that will change what you do. Nothing. Nothing at all.
That's
You might have to
right.
go a little bit slower, but that's really about it. That's really about the only
Mhm.
difference.
Mhm. Yes, and I agree that, you can live the life you want. You might need to slow down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but you can still live the life you want. I remember sitting next to somebody on an airplane ride to Hawaii, and she was well in her 80s, and she was going over there for a ballroom dance festival that she was in.
Oh,
That
And
is so
yeah,
cute.
I'm like, you're my inspiration. She's still out
Yes.
there, those fun little outfits, doing ballroom dancing. I mean, I could only
Yeah.
see it in my mind. Yeah, but
That's so
yeah, it
fun.
is doable. I think you can live the life you want if you pay attention to your body and give it what it needs and listen to the limits, but also
Mhm.
give it a little oomph and push
Yeah,
when it's appropriate.
For
I
Yeah,
sure.
agree.
For sure.
yeah.
And I think I'll just
So
add one other thing here, just because I feel like it is important to mention that if anyone does feel like, if you are getting older and you feel like, man, I wish I was like how I used to be, blah, blah, blah. I think what is really kind of valuable to say is you are not the same person you were when you were at your peak then.
mhm.
So what I want people to recognize is if you were like, for example, like Kari being a marathon runner, if you were a marathon runner, you're probably not a marathon runner anymore. And that's okay. You're something else now. Now you have to figure out what that is.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now you're apparently a weightlifting grandma who can pick up her babies and like thrust them into the
Squat
air.
thrust them
So
in the changing room.
Mhm.
I love it.
But I do, okay, so yes, I am not running marathons, and because I don't have any desire, although my kids have been kind of pressuring me because I ran 9 marathons ago. You got to round that up to 10. And I said, okay, so all of you are going to be running a marathon with me when I turn 80.
there you go.
So
I
Okay.
love that.
I'm
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
I'm
Carrie, that'd be so cool.
I'm already manifesting it. I'm putting it out there, and
Okay.
so
Yes.
yes,
I think
yeah,
you have
Love
some
it.
time to train. I think you have a little bit
yeah,
of
Yeah.
time.
You
Okay.
got plenty.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, but I think what you said also too, Melanie, how important it is, like you're working with somebody in her 80s, and
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know what to do, which in our generation, weightlifting was never a thing. It was never even considered part of the exercise movement. It was all cardio, and now how important it is. But if you don't have proper alignment, that can lead to injuries. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really important to seek out the health professional, even for just one session, where they can show you, good alignment, proper form, proper technique for doing strength training, especially people in my generation
Oh
who
yeah.
probably don't have a good background with it.
Absolutely. I couldn't speak more highly of hiring a personal trainer for just
Hmm.
gaining that skill set and that knowledge in and of itself. That alone is so valuable. So I
Exactly.
agree with you there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So should we move on to L? So we have
Yeah.
SE, sleep, exercise. The L is for love.
Okay.
To me, love kind of just means connecting, and
Yeah.
I think it's important to with this is to know thyself. And I kind of go back to that where you understand what you're going towards. And I think, having some kind of a purpose that would just keep you going. There was actually a
Mm-hmm.
study that was done in the JAMA, and they studied about 7,000 Americans, and they're between the ages of 51 and 61. And they filled out the psychological questionnaire on their relationships between mortality and life purpose. And then what they found really surprised them, that the people that didn't have a strong life purpose, and that was like what they meant by life purpose is a self-organizing life aimed to stimulate a goal. Okay, so you have
Mm-hmm.
some kind of a goal out there, but they were more likely to die than those who did.
Interesting.
And so, having a life purpose, they found was twice, or the people that didn't have one were twice as likely to die compared to the ones who did. And at the conclusion of the study, it said what mattered was they not what the life purpose was, but that they had one.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I just find that having a purpose, knowing what it is that you're going towards at any age really is
Mm-hmm.
important, but especially because you were saying like the older people, I can't exercise, I can't do this. I mean, I think there's this mentality that you're out to pasture after a certain age, and I don't think that has to happen.
I agree.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't
I
think that
really, I
has to
really do
happen.
stand by the age is but a number when it comes to a lot of things. Because, like, I think it's a cop out. Like, oh, I'm 70 now. I can't do anything anymore because there's a 7 there, and it's like, no, you can
Yes.
still do anything. Like I said, maybe a little slower, but it doesn't mean you can't do it. You just have to take more time. That's it. That's the only difference.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that includes building relationships with other people.
Right. And how
Yes,
important
yeah.
that is, especially
Yeah.
as you age, because it takes more effort to get out there in social settings, and we are living in such a world now where we can be disconnected, and
Mm-hmm.
or just
Yeah.
have pseudo connections, like
Yeah.
devices that we are connecting with instead of human interaction, which is okay, but it's not the same. But I think it's just important to keep those connections really strong, especially as you age, and figuring out what it is that you're going towards at any phase, and that could change. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think how to get more social connections too, or just get you to where you love life even more, is I think they find in when you start doing something new, and getting creative, embracing new experiences, taking classes, trying to learn a new skill,
Mm-hmm.
travel,
I
pick up
love
that
those
instrument
ideas.
that's all dusted, and or take up something new, but challenge your mind. And we have so much information available to us. I mean, if you're bored, that means, wow, you really aren't engaging in anything. And maybe that's okay once in a while, but
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
you really have access to this information age, and I think we should take advantage of it, especially as we age.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And I do think, like, just finding a community that works for you. It's well known I'm a swimmer. I talk about it all the time. If anyone's listening to the podcast for the first time, congratulations, you're learning something I've talked about many times, which I swim. And I swim master swim team. So it's a group, it's people there. It's not just me in a pool. And I'm probably one of the youngest people out there. Most of the people are probably old enough to be my parents' age, and they're all swimming together, and that's their little community. They all know each other's names. I mean, I'm learning it because I'm there, but they all know each other's names. Oh yeah, were you out like doing this swim? Oh no, I did the bay swim, blah blah blah, and they chatting about it, and it's just a little community that they've created, and it's in the form of activity too, because like, if you have swam, there's not a lot of talking that happens when you're swimming. You're kind of like in a pool, but like outside of that, before or after the pool, whether getting in or getting out, they are having these conversations and developing these relationships with people. So it's
Love
nice.
that.
It's nice to see it. And like, I get that sense of community a little bit too, like with my lane mates, like I get to learn who's with me and my speed. And it's just nice to be around people, even if we're not like besties. Like it's still nice.
That
Right.
shared interest, that
Mm-hmm.
shared goals. I mean, that's beautiful. That's beautiful to have
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So
And I
good.
think there's a lot of value to that, because like it's kind of sad, but I did have a patient who unfortunately has since passed away, but she was in that situation where she didn't have a lot of connection, and it was really tough for her when the pandemic hit, because she lost all connection at that point. And I was one of the only people she had connection with as her instructor, which made it really tough, because I'm in a role that's not really a friend as I am a support system. So there had to be a line that we couldn't really cross. And so I had to kind of put up those boundaries, which it made me feel really bad, because she's like, oh, invite over your friends, you go hang out at my house. I'm like, but I can't do that, because like I'm a clinician. I cannot do that. So I do see there's a lot of value to creating some relationship somewhere, going to some community, with an interest that you share. It doesn't have to be activity necessarily. It can be like pottery, but finding something where you connect with other people, even in the smallest level, is something, and it matters so much. So I totally agree with you there.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Yeah. And then let's move on. I think, one of my biggest passions in life is the F and the self, which, so, sleep, exercise, love. And then the last one is just the
Food.
food.
Woo! I love food.
I love
Yeah,
food.
right. And, everyone's on their own journey with food. I think that as we age, we need to pay attention to a few important things that more so, which is that it's harder to synthesize protein as we age, and especially we want to keep that essential muscle on our body. So we need to increase our protein load. For me, I've learned to do it before I do that workout in the morning. And then I make sure I get a good high protein meal right after the workout, and then a couple more each, day that I'm really, if I'm going to have a snack, I'm going to have some yogurt or some cottage cheese with it, or hard-boiled egg or something with some protein. So I'll just keep that going. And like I mentioned earlier, I have noticed from the Sika test. So I did one, and then like 3 or 4 months later, I just happened to be able to do another Sika test, and I was really consciously trying to put on muscle, and I did.
There you
So,
go.
as
Nice.
somebody my age, to put on 4 pounds of muscle is a big, big achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
Right.
because I loaded up the protein. So
Love
I
that.
attribute to that the ability. Now I need to maintain it, obviously, but I think that was one thing that was notable for me. Also, I've noticed. I mean, I really haven't had any kind of illness in years, um, and I think it's a lot of paying attention to the amount of fiber I'm eating, which comes from, the prebiotic foods, which are fruits and vegetables, but also legumes. I decided to eat beans every morning because
Beans are great.
everyone's.
They're the
I know,
best.
I know. I make a crock pot full of different ones
Mm-hmm.
each week, and it's
Nice.
kind of my hearty, go to after workout food. Like
Yum.
either beans with rice or quinoa, with it. And it's interesting because we took a trip over to the UK just a couple months ago, and they serve beans for breakfast. And I
Mm-hmm.
was telling, and we were in Scotland, and I was sharing with a woman. I said, I eat beans for breakfast in the United States, and people think I'm crazy. And she says, well, here in Scotland, people think you would be crazy if you don't eat beans for breakfast. So I'm like, yes, I knew
Yes.
that
My
part.
people. That's great.
So
Yeah, I
yeah.
love
So
that.
anyway, that's been something that has worked for me. Getting that hearty food, which then supports my microbiome, which, because it's feeding that ecosystem in there that is trying to keep yourself healthy. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that's it. It could be just, dumb luck too, because we're COVID now and we're not, maybe I'm not exposed to as much out there either, but we're post COVID, excuse me. But, we're mostly working at home nowadays instead of
Yeah.
on the road as much. So, but yeah, this is one thing that, like I said, everyone has their own health journey. Mine had to start in college because, and once I decided to do the career path of registered dietitian, I had to learn to like healthy foods. I ate nothing but junk food until that point, and it was bad. It was really bad. But
Interesting.
I got interested in
I learned something
nutrition.
new about Kari today.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Um, and I grew up in the Midwest, so it was either canned food or packaged food or
Mm-hmm.
fast
Mm-hmm.
food or yeah. So that's what it was. And it took me a long time to developed palate for healthy food. So I get it when people are saying, I don't like it. I'm like, I didn't either. I had to go to the store and just walk around the produce section and like kind of speculatively grab something, hoping that I could figure out what it was. And at that point, there was no internet. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm
True.
looking through paper cookbooks at home, like, what is this thing I bought? What do I do with it? How can I enjoy it? And it really took me a long time to get to the palate I have now, which is I absolutely love healthy foods. Like, I don't even want the other stuff. So but that was my journey, and I think that there's everyone's going to have their own journey, and I love that you're doing fermented foods, Melanie. That
All
is
the time.
So
so
cool.
important for those
I,
probiotics.
I have a little bit of a background in the sense that my dad's a winemaker. So like I've been around fermentation my whole life. And so I had a fundamental understanding of it. Now fermenting foods is not necessarily what he did. He did more like the grapes, but he did brew beer too. So like he was doing all the alcohol fermentation. But this process is pretty much the same. So that's why it wasn't really hard for me to fall into that, because when you have a parent whose passion is fermentation, you kind of just learn by osmosis how that happens, because they're talking about it all the time. So like I just happen to learn a lot. And yeah, I love fermented foods. I make kimchi, I make sauerkraut, I have fermented Russian style pickles, I have mustard, I have hot sauces, like I have kombucha, like I ferment, so like my house is full of fermenting things all the time.
all that good bacteria running
Yes.
around.
Oh,
Good
and I make my own yogurt too. Like let's add that in there as well. So yeah,
That's
I got it all.
amazing. That's amazing, honestly.
Wow.
Well, you say working from home has benefited you. It has also benefited me. I have a lot of time to do these things.
Yeah, and your gut. Your gut is thanking you for all that yummy food. Yeah. And what is the tip? Is it mostly time, like giving it the right ingredients and then just watching it? Is it ferments?
Yeah, the process of fermentation is actually not complicated at all. It's just time. It's really a lot of time. Also, it's either one of two things. You either want the acid content of whatever you're making to be high enough so it doesn't mold, or the salt content to be high enough so it doesn't mold. But if one of those two is achieved, or whatever, you will have a good fermentation. So like kombucha is acid, but like a fermented pickle is actually salt. So is actually lacto fermented. You're throwing pineapple into that one. So when I do a lacto ferment for the mustard, that's pineapple, which is lactobacillus essentially is going to be helping with that one there. But I've been in a lot of forums. I read a lot about this stuff. I'm sorry. I can nerd out for way too long.
Send you some
That's
stars.
Yeah. Again, that's what I love about the information age is we have access to everything, right?
It can be helpful.
But yeah, it's just time. Like that's why those things are actually so expensive, because like fermented mustard takes a whole month to make. It takes 1 month.
Wow.
So you're just sitting there with it on your counter for a month. So yeah, the process is pouring it all in there, make your brine, fill it up, walk away. But then a month later, it's done. And it's like, okay, that's why kombucha is like $5 a bottle. It takes like a month and a half to make kombucha. It takes time.
It's a process.
So that's why I think a lot of those things tend to be a little expensive. But if you have the time, just saying, it's not hard to do. And it's delicious if you like fermented things.
Love that.
All right. I bet we're going to see a lot of sourdough starters going on after this podcast.
I also make sourdough as well. Let's add that to the list. The difference is when you bake sourdough, you kill the probiotics. Don't eat the starter. It's bad for you. But aside from that, it's my little PSA. Do not eat sourdough starter because it is not. Flour is known to have salmonella, so just don't. Don't do that. But unfortunately, as much as I would... Yes. So raw cookie dough, the most dangerous part is actually the flour, not the egg. What I will say is, unfortunately, it is about that time. We must wrap up. We must be done. But anything else you want to add just as a final thought before we wrap up here, Kari?
Yeah. So, we talked about the self principle, and I think, that practice is, if you just dial into something easy to remember, like what can I do for my sleep or my exercise or my love connections or purpose or food, I think, making it simple, making it easy, small steps are important. But also, if it's something new, it's going to cost you a little time and energy and fortitude and willingness to do it. But then, when you figure that out and you want to live healthfully as you age, then that purpose becomes that driving force to do it. And then you will want to sleep better and exercise more and find your connections and eat that good fermented food.
It's like
Love it.
Motivation follows behavior. We just got to start doing
Yeah.
it, and then you get motivated to continue. I love that.
Yes, that's good.
Awesome.
That's
Well,
it.
thank you so much for coming on, Kari. It's been a blast having you here. Glad
This has been
to
wonderful.
learn
Thank
new
you so
things about
much.
Kari.
I know, it's fun.
Right. But thank you to everybody who is listening at home. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. You're welcome to go on our website, positivechoice.org, and see what services we can provide. We do work with people remotely. You do not need to be a Kaiser member, and we work with people all over the country. But with that being said, if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to comment below. But otherwise, until next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Looking to stay strong, steady, and active as you age? Join us at the Positive Choice Integrative Wellness Center for Senior Strength, a gentle yet effective group fitness class designed specifically for older adults or anyone with mobility limitations or just wants to get started. In just 1 hour, you'll move through light cardio, strength-building exercises, and modified yoga poses, all tailored to support your balance, flexibility, and confidence. This in-person group class is welcoming, supportive, and led by experienced instructors who understand your needs. Visit positivechoice.org/group fitness to learn more and sign up today.